The night was unusually quiet in the forest behind John Miller's small wooden cabin. No crickets chirped, and even the owls stayed silent. John sat on his old rocking chair on the back porch, feeling that something wasn't right. The tall pine trees cast long shadows under the full moon, and a cool breeze made the leaves dance. Suddenly, a strange sound broke the silence. It wasn't like anything John had heard before, not quite a roar, not quite a growl, but something in between. The sound came again, this time weaker, almost like a cry for help. John grabbed his flashlight and jacket. He wasn't sure if going into the dark forest was smart, but something in that cry touched his heart. The beam of his flashlight cut through the darkness as he walked carefully between the trees. The strange sound led him deeper into the forest. After walking for 10 minutes, John stopped. There, in a small clearing, he saw something that made his heart skip a beat. A creature lay on its side, breathing heavily. At first glance, it looked like a large leopard, but John knew this was no ordinary animal. The creature's fur had a pattern of spots that seemed to glow faintly in the dark, like tiny stars. Instead of 2 eyes, it had 6, 3 on each side of its face. They were all closed now, as the creature lay there, clearly hurt and starving. Its ribs showed through its fur, and one of its legs had a deep cut. When John took a step closer, the creature's eyes opened. All 6 of them glowed with a soft blue light. It tried to stand, showing its sharp teeth in a threatening display, but it was too weak. It collapsed back to the ground, making that strange sound again, a mix of a growl and a whimper. John knew he had 2 choices. He could walk away and pretend he never saw this clearly alien creature. That would be the safe thing to do. Or he could help it, even though it might be dangerous. The creature watched him with its strange eyes, and John saw something in them he didn't expect, intelligence and fear. "It's okay," John said softly, even though he wasn't sure if the creature could understand him. "I'm not going to hurt you." He slowly took off his jacket. The creature tensed, its glowing spots pulsing brighter for a moment. John carefully placed the jacket on the ground and stepped back. From his pocket, he pulled out the sandwich he had packed for his night shift at work. He unwrapped it and placed it near the jacket. The creature's 6 eyes followed his every move. Its nostrils flared, smelling the food. John could see it was fighting between fear and hunger. Hunger won. With shaking legs, it dragged itself toward the sandwich, keeping all 6 eyes on John. As it ate, John noticed something else strange. There were small pieces of metal scattered around the clearing, and some broken branches high up in the trees. Looking closer, he saw a path of broken trees leading into the forest. Whatever this creature was, it hadn't just wandered here, it had crashed. The creature finished the sandwich quickly, then looked at John again. This time, its look was different. The fear was still there, but there was something else too, a hint of trust beginning to form. John slowly sat down on the ground, keeping his distance. "You're not from around here, are you?" he said quietly. The creature's spots pulsed gently, almost like it was trying to communicate. He knew this was just the beginning. The creature needed help, food, medicine for its wounds, and shelter. Helping it would be dangerous. If anyone found out about it, there would be trouble. Scientists would want to study it, and who knows what else might happen. But as John sat there in the moonlit clearing, watching this magnificent alien creature, he knew he couldn't just leave it. Something incredible had happened in his ordinary life, and he felt responsible for what happened next. The creature made a soft sound, different from its earlier cries. It slowly laid its head down on John's jacket, keeping its eyes on him. One by one, its 6 eyes began to close, until only one remained open, watching. Trust was beginning, but it would take time. John settled in for a long night, knowing his life would never be the same after this moment. He had no idea that this was just the start of an amazing friendship that would change not only his life, but the life of this extraordinary creature too. Over the next few days, John learned that taking care of an alien leopard wasn't easy. He kept the creature hidden in an old storage shed behind his cabin, far from any curious eyes. The shed became its safe space, lined with soft blankets and always stocked with fresh water. At first, the creature wouldn't let John come within 10 feet. Its spots would pulse bright red, a warning signal John quickly learned to respect. But hunger made it accept the food John brought: fresh meat, fish, and sometimes the creature surprised him by eagerly eating fruits, especially bright blueberries. One morning, something extraordinary happened. As John approached with breakfast, he noticed the creature's spots were changing colors in a pattern: blue, green, purple, then blue again. The air around it seemed to shimmer, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Suddenly, small symbols appeared in the air, glowing shapes floating between them. "You're trying to talk to me, aren't you?" John whispered, amazed. The creature's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, and more symbols appeared. John couldn't understand them, but he realized something incredible. This wasn't just some alien animal. It was intelligent, perhaps as intelligent as him, maybe even more so. That night, John heard strange mechanical sounds from the shed. Peeking through a crack, he saw something that made his jaw drop. The creature was holding what looked like a small broken device between its paws. Its spots projected light onto the device, almost like it was trying to repair it. The next morning brought another surprise. John found small drawings scratched into the dirt floor of the shed. They showed what looked like stars, planets, and what might have been a spacecraft. The creature, which John had started calling Luna because of her glowing spots, was telling her story. But not everyone was as fascinated as John. His neighbor, old Mr. Peterson, started asking questions about the strange lights he'd seen at night. And one evening, John heard hunters in the nearby woods, their dogs barking excitedly at unfamiliar scents. Luna sensed the danger too. Her spots would dim completely when strangers came near, making her nearly invisible in the shadows. She showed John another surprising ability. She could blend into her surroundings like a chameleon, but far more advanced. Her entire body would take on the patterns and colors of whatever was behind her. The real breakthrough came during a thunderstorm. The loud crashes of thunder terrified Luna, making her spots flash in panic. Without thinking, John rushed into the shed to comfort her. For the first time, he got close enough to touch her. Her fur felt like silk, but seemed to tingle with a gentle electric current. Instead of attacking, Luna pressed her head against John's hand. All 6 eyes closed in trust, and her spots glowed a soft, peaceful gold. The floating symbols appeared again, but this time they were different, simpler, like she was learning to communicate in a way John might understand. That night changed everything. Luna started teaching John her way of communicating. Her spots could create simple pictures in the air: food when she was hungry, danger when she heard something suspicious, and most importantly, a picture of what looked like a damaged spaceship deep in the forest. John realized Luna wasn't just hiding, she was stranded. Her ship had crashed, and she needed help to repair it. But as he watched her 6 eyes track a falling star through the shed's window, he wondered if helping her meant he would lose her forever. The next morning, John found something new in the shed. Luna had used her claws to carve a perfect image of Earth and another planet he didn't recognize, connected by a line of glowing symbols. She wasn't just asking for help to leave, she was promising to return. As John sat beside her, watching her spots create beautiful patterns of light on the walls, he knew he would do whatever it took to help her. But neither of them could have guessed how their story would unfold, or the incredible journey that lay ahead. The turning point in John and Luna's story came when her wound got worse. The cut on her leg had started glowing an angry purple, and her spots flickered weakly like dying stars. John knew he had to do something, but how do you treat an alien leopard? That night, Luna showed him something amazing. Using her light projections, she created a detailed image of a strange plant. It had spiral leaves that seemed to move in the projection, and flowers that looked like tiny moons. The most incredible part: John had seen this plant before, deep in the forest, but had always thought it was just an odd-looking weed. Following Luna's projected map, John found the plant growing near a small creek. As he got closer, he noticed something he'd never seen before. The plant gave off a faint blue glow, just like Luna's spots. Had her kind somehow visited Earth before? Had they planted these healing flowers? When John brought the plant back, Luna did something unexpected. She dipped one of her claws into the creek water John had also brought, and suddenly, the water began to glow. Her spots pulsed in sync with the glowing water, and small sparks of light danced between them. She was using some kind of energy to change the water. She motioned for John to crush the plant and mix it with the now glowing water. As he worked, he noticed the mixture felt warm and seemed to move on its own, like it was alive. Luna's 6 eyes watched carefully, all blinking in different patterns, as if she was running some kind of analysis. When John applied the mixture to her wound, the real magic happened. The glowing liquid seemed to sink into her fur, and her spots all flashed bright blue at once. The air crackled with tiny sparks of electricity. Then, right before John's eyes, the wound began to heal, not slowly like a normal cut, but fast enough that he could actually see it closing. But the healing brought something else: memories. As Luna's spots pulsed with healing energy, they projected clear images all around them. A beautiful alien world with 3 moons and floating cities made of crystal, strange creatures that looked like a mix of Earth animals, and most surprisingly, other humans. John watched in amazement as the images showed humans and Luna's people working together, building something in space. But then the images turned dark, showing conflict, fear, and Luna's people leaving Earth long ago. She was showing him a history that no one on Earth remembered. The projections also revealed why Luna had crashed. She had been on a special mission, observing Earth from orbit, when her ship was damaged by space debris. But she hadn't chosen John's forest by accident. Her people had left something hidden there centuries ago. As her strength returned, Luna began teaching John more about her abilities. He learned that her spots weren't just for communication or light. They could actually absorb and store energy from sunlight, moonlight, and even the Earth's magnetic field. This was how her people powered their technology. One afternoon, Luna led John to her crashed ship, hidden under a canopy of trees. The ship was small, just big enough for one of her kind, and looked like it was made of living crystal. When Luna pressed her paw against it, the entire ship lit up with the same patterns as her spots. Inside the ship, John found something that changed everything: a small device that Luna's people had left behind centuries ago. It was meant to be found when humanity was ready. As Luna's spots connected with the device, it projected a message. Her real mission wasn't just observation. She was part of a team preparing for her people's return to Earth. That evening, as they sat in the shed watching the sunset, John realized that helping Luna wasn't just about healing her wound anymore. He was part of something much bigger, a bridge between 2 worlds. Luna's spots glowed with all the colors of the sunset, and for a moment, John could see through her 6 eyes a future where humans and her kind lived together again. But first, they had to repair her ship, and Luna had to deliver her message to her people. The real challenge was just beginning, and time was running out. Strange lights had been seen in the sky, and John wasn't sure if they were Luna's people coming to help, or something else entirely. The changes weren't just underground. Animals started behaving differently around the crystal growth sites. Deer would pause and seem to listen to silent songs, their eyes reflecting the same 6-fold pattern as Luna's. Birds began weaving patterns in the sky that matched the energy flows John could see through his necklace. But the most remarkable change came during meteor showers. Each falling star triggered waves of response from the crystal network. John learned to read these reactions. Some meteors were just rocks, but others caused the crystals to pulse with recognition. Someone was watching Earth, and the crystals knew who they were. Using his necklace, John discovered that the ancient device they found had been recording Earth's history through the magnetic field itself. Like rings in a tree, Earth's magnetic field held memories. He saw glimpses of dinosaurs, ancient civilizations, and most surprisingly, previous visits from Luna's people throughout history. One night, while tracking the crystal network's growth, John found something unexpected. In a deep cave revealed by the crystal's light, he discovered wall paintings that seemed to glow under his necklace's vision. They showed six-eyed creatures teaching early humans about the stars. Luna's people hadn't just visited Earth, they had been humanity's first teachers. The crystal seeds Luna had left were doing more than growing. They were purifying the soil and water around them, healing environmental damage. Through his enhanced vision, John watched as polluted streams slowly cleared and dying trees revived. The technology wasn't just communicating, it was healing the Earth itself. Strange dreams began filling John's nights. Through the crystal necklace's connection, he experienced memories that weren't his own. He saw Luna's world through her eyes, crystal cities that sang with light, oceans that glowed with conscious bioluminescence, and skies where thought itself could create bridges between stars. One dream showed him something urgent, a map of Earth's magnetic field shifting, forming new patterns. The crystal network was responding to these changes, preparing for something. When John woke, his necklace was pulsing with a new frequency, and the northern lights had returned. But John wasn't the only one noticing changes. Scientists reported unusual magnetic anomalies worldwide. Satellite systems experienced strange glitches. And most tellingly, astronomers discovered that the moon's orbit was subtly changing, as if something was gradually adjusting Earth's cosmic dance. Through the crystal network, John received fragments of messages, not from Luna, but from Earth itself. The planet was responding to the crystal technology, awakening something that had been dormant for millennia. Earth wasn't just a planet, it was part of an ancient living system that spanned the galaxy. One evening, John's necklace began vibrating with an entirely new pattern. The crystal network lit up like never before, visible even to normal eyes. In the sky, 3 unusual stars aligned in a pattern Luna had mentioned. Through the necklace, John heard a clear message. The resonance begins. The family awakens. Looking up at those 3 aligned stars, John understood that Luna's return wouldn't just be a reunion, it would be an awakening. Earth was transforming, preparing for a new chapter in its history. The crystal seeds weren't just growing a network, they were growing a bridge between worlds. As the northern lights danced overhead, forming patterns that matched the crystal network below, John smiled. Luna had trusted him with more than just seeds and a necklace. She had made him part of an ancient plan to reconnect 2 lost branches of the same cosmic family tree. The night of Luna's return began with a phenomenon never before seen on Earth. All electronic devices within miles of John's forest stopped working, but the crystal necklace pulsed with more power than ever. In the sky, the 3 aligned stars began to move, forming a triangle that mirrored the pattern of Luna's spots. Through the crystal network, John felt it first, a vibration that made the very air sing. The forest's crystal roots erupted with light, creating pathways of glowing energy that spiraled toward a clearing. But this wasn't the same clearing where he first found Luna. The crystal network had transformed it into something extraordinary. The ground itself had become crystalline, forming a perfect spiral pattern that pulsed with living light. John's necklace revealed that this wasn't just a landing pad, it was a biological beacon, calling to something in deep space using Earth's own magnetic field as an amplifier. When Luna's ship appeared, it wasn't alone. 3 smaller crystals descended first, each glowing with different colors. Through his necklace, John understood. These were Luna's cubs, but not in the way Earth animals have young. They were crystalline beings, born from the merger of Luna's energy and Earth's unique magnetic fields. Luna herself had changed. Her body now rippled with patterns of light that flowed like liquid crystal. All 6 of her eyes had different colors, each one representing a different spectrum of energy she could perceive. But most remarkably, she now had what looked like wings, not physical wings, but patterns of pure energy that spread out behind her like the northern lights. The cubs were even more extraordinary. Each one had inherited different aspects of Earth's nature. The first cub had spots that mimicked the patterns of Earth's weather systems, actually creating mini weather phenomena around itself. The second could communicate with and control plants, making flowers bloom and trees bend with just a thought. The third had the ability to tap into Earth's deep geological forces, sensing earthquakes and reading the memories stored in rocks. As Luna approached John, their crystal connection revealed the truth of her absence. She hadn't just been away. She had been transforming herself to become a bridge between two worlds. Her body now contained both the ancient technology of her people and the living energy of Earth. The cubs approached John with curious eyes, each set different from their mother's. When they touched the ground, the crystal network responded, creating new patterns of light that spread throughout the forest. Through his necklace, John could see they were installing something, new protocols into Earth's crystal network, preparing it for the next phase. Luna projected a story into John's mind through their enhanced connection. She showed him how she had presented Earth's crystal seeds to her people, proving that humans were ready for reunion. But some of her kind had disagreed, fearing that humanity would misuse their technology. Luna's solution was brilliant: create cubs that were part of both worlds, living proof that Earth and her world could coexist. The cubs began to play, but their play was unlike anything on Earth. They created shapes of pure energy, wove light into complex patterns, and communicated with the forest in ways that made the entire ecosystem respond with joy. Animals emerged from hiding, drawn to the cubs' energy, unafraid of their alien nature. Through the crystal network, John felt Earth responding to the cubs' presence. The planet's magnetic field was realigning, creating new channels of energy that connected directly to Luna's world. The cubs were acting as living conduits, strengthening the bridge between worlds with every moment they spent on Earth. Luna shared another surprise. The cubs needed a teacher, someone who understood both worlds. Her 6 eyes turned to John, and through their connection he understood. She wanted him to help raise them, to be their guide to Earth, while she continued her work of preparing both worlds for full reunion. As the night deepened, the cubs created a spectacular display. Working together, they wove their different abilities into a single demonstration. Weather, life, and geological forces combined to create a miniature model of what Earth could become, a perfect blend of nature and crystal technology, of human ingenuity and alien wisdom. Luna's return wasn't an ending, it was a beginning. Through the cubs, she had created something entirely new in the universe. Beings that were neither fully of Earth nor fully of her world, but a perfect bridge between the two. As John watched the cubs play with the forces of nature itself, he realized that his role in this cosmic story was just beginning. 1 year after Luna's return with her cubs, John's forest had become something that defied imagination. The crystal network had transformed it into what Luna called a Genesis zone, a testing ground for the harmonious fusion of Earth's nature with her people's technology. Each cub had grown in unexpected ways, developing abilities that surpassed even Luna's hopes. Stormsinger, the first cub, had learned to weave weather patterns into messages that could be seen from space. These atmospheric messages served as beacons for others of Luna's kind who were interested in Earth, creating beautiful light shows that astronomers worldwide struggled to explain. Rootweaver, the second cub, had developed a deeper connection with Earth's plant life than anyone thought possible. Through the crystal network, it could communicate with plants worldwide, creating a living database of Earth's biodiversity. More importantly, it had learned to revive extinct plant species by accessing their genetic memories stored in Earth's magnetic field. Earthspeaker, the third cub, revealed perhaps the most shocking discovery. Through its connection to geological forces, it found ancient crystal structures deep within the Earth's crust, remnants of lunar civilization from millions of years ago. These structures weren't just artifacts. They were dormant seeds of a planetary consciousness that had been waiting to be awakened. John's role had evolved far beyond what he'd imagined. Through daily lessons with the cubs, he discovered that human consciousness could interface with crystal technology in unique ways. The cubs learned to translate human emotions into energy patterns, creating a new form of art that combined feelings, light, and natural forces. Luna revealed another surprise. The crystal necklace she had given John wasn't just a tool for seeing energy patterns. It was evolving, adapting to his DNA, gradually transforming him into something new. He could now communicate directly with the crystal network without the necklace, his thoughts creating ripples in the energy field that surrounded Earth. The forest itself became a living classroom. The cubs discovered they could create temporary crystal chambers that held different environments from both Earth and Luna's world. These chambers became meeting places where carefully chosen humans, scientists, artists, and children with unusual sensitivity to the crystal energy could safely experience and learn about Luna's civilization. But the most remarkable development came when the cubs discovered they could combine their abilities. Together, they created what Luna called a harmony sphere, a perfect fusion of weather, life, and geological forces contained within a crystal energy field. Within this sphere, both humans and Luna's kind could exist comfortably, breathing the same air and sharing the same space without any need for adaptation. The harmony sphere proved to be the key to the greater plan. Luna revealed that similar spheres would eventually be created at each of the crystal network nodes around the planet, forming a grid of connection points between Earth and her world. These wouldn't be invasion points or colonies, but rather bridges between worlds where both species could learn from each other. John noticed that the cubs' presence had another unexpected effect. Children who came near the forest began showing signs of crystal sensitivity, able to see energy patterns without any technology. Luna explained that human DNA had always contained the potential for these abilities. The cubs were simply awakening what had long been dormant in humanity. As the crystal network grew stronger, Earth itself began to change. The cubs' activities had activated ancient systems deep within the planet, starting a careful, controlled process of planetary evolution. Deserts began sprouting crystal forests that produced water from air. Polluted areas were naturally purified by crystal-enhanced bacteria. The planet was healing itself using tools left behind eons ago. Luna's people began making regular visits, drawn by the success of her experiment. Each visitor brought new knowledge and technology, but more importantly, they came to learn from Earth and its inhabitants. The cubs had proved that the future lay not in one species teaching another, but in true collaboration and mutual growth. One evening, as John watched the cubs create a symphony of light and nature, Luna shared the final piece of the story. The cubs weren't just a bridge between worlds. They were the first of a new species, one that combined the best aspects of both civilizations. Through them, both humanity and Luna's people would evolve together, creating something entirely new in the universe. The forest around John's cabin was no longer just a hidden sanctuary. It had become a seed of Earth's future, a living example of what was possible when different worlds came together in harmony. As John looked up at the stars, now visible in new ways through his evolved senses, he saw not a vast empty space, but an infinite web of connections, waiting to be explored by this new family that bridged the gap between worlds.